What's up, folks? Welcome back to the channel. Boozer here. Thanks for stopping by. Good early morning to everybody out there. We are checking in on our Lydia tournament. The time is winding down, and unfortunately with events like this, you kind of have to be online for the last hour or two just to make sure that everything is going accordingly. And if not, you still have time to react. So for us, we kind of left off this tournament before we went to bed. We kind of didn't really take a real sleep. We only slept like half, like maybe 3 hours. It's about 2 a.m. in the morning right now where I'm from. So we're just checking in on the tournament, just to see our progress. And we had a pretty sizable lead going into our 3-hour nap. So we're just going to check in on the training tournament here. And yeah, we still have our sizable lead. The second and third place really haven't moved much in the last day or so. They've been jostling for second and third place pretty much for the last 36 hours. We could see reasonable movement from either of them just so they can secure second place. I don't want them to get so into their battle that they start creeping up on me and then start thinking that they can, basically steal the first away. So I don't really want to see any movement, but I think we'll probably see a little bit of movement from them. So we have to be ready to add our own points just in case. Now, I haven't really added much myself in maybe like the last 12 hours. We'll show you guys all the screenshots. I've compiled all the screenshots of my resources, and we'll go over the breakdown of everything as we go on with this video. And we'll break down each day and what we did and all that stuff. But this is basically like live. We got an hour and a half to go, so I'm watching this as I'm making this video. And if they react, it's going to be part of the video. So we're going to have to try to edit down this video a little bit so that it's more cohesive for the viewer. But right now it's pretty much live. So I'm watching this live with 90 minutes to go. And yeah, we got to be really on top of it. While we're here, let's talk about what we are able to do. So obviously throughout the last, maybe probably day and a half, I've just been building up food. So my box is basically maxed out. I have champions in my inbox right now. So lots of champions ready to go. We have lots of 40s ready to go. We have lots of 40s with no levels in them, so they're very quick to level up or brew up if I need to. We got lots of 30s still left. They're basically just instant levels. So that's what I would do if I needed some quick points. So it'd be like 16 instantly to 30, and then we could do 21 40s instantly to 5-star after I put some brews into these ones before I feed them off. But these are all for like quick points, right? On top of that, our books, we haven't showed off our resources in the last couple of days just because obviously we have an active competition happening. But I didn't want to disclose my resources here. But yeah, we have a lot of books. We have about 100,000 points in books. Obviously, I don't want to spend these books on champions that, have no value to my account. I don't like just spending resources for the sake of spending resources. But in this case, when it's all down to the wire, you really want to make sure you get to the finish line, get that prize that we've been working so hard for the last couple of days. So at that point, basically anything goes. But obviously, I don't really want to, throw books into like Danag or something like that, or throw away my mythical books. So mythical books will definitely be the last thing that go, but I don't see myself using all of these books up anyways. 750 epic books, it's basically the equivalent of like 60,000 points. I don't even know if I have that many epics. That's like 75 epics, 10 books each. That's a lot of epics. I'm not ready to book that many epics out, but we can start booking food out, obviously, and then, just start throwing books randomly into any epic that we see. But that would be just extremely, extremely wasteful. And just quick look at our brews. We actually don't have that many brews. Obviously, we use quite a bit of brews to get to where we are already, over 106,000 points. Yeah, we can talk about the resource breakdown and what it took to get here as we break down some of the timeline photos. But right now I'm going to hop back and forth between checking out the champion training tournament. We'll be doing that for a little bit here. So I'll hop back into this video. We'll talk more about what's happening as the timer starts running down. But in the meantime, I have to be extra vigilant just watching these guys if there's any kind of movement. So we'll be right back. All right, guys, checking in on that tournament. We are just breaking the 60-minute mark, remaining literally no movement, not even 100-point movement from the second or third place players in this bracket pool. Now, we did have Grizmatic come through the comments on one of my previous videos saying that he was basically just, done with this event. We don't know anything about Lord T-Bone here. We saw him make the biggest moves throughout the last couple of days. So I don't know if he was chasing second or just positioning himself to go after first, but we shall see. I don't know. With 1 hour left, 60,000 points. It's possible. I'm watching some of the action in my other discords, and man, it's getting really, really intense. Big leads being made, big leads being lost. So, like in these situations, you still can't rest too easy. I know a lot of people were saying that my lead was big enough that I can rest easy, but you never know, because these training tournaments, they can definitely get out of hand pretty quickly. So anyways, we'll keep monitoring this while we do other things in the game. So we'll be right back. All right, guys, checking back in. We're at 18 minutes left. Not any movement, zero movement at all in the last hour and a half or so. So yeah, I think we are pretty much locked in here. 18 minutes. It's going to take an absolute godly snipe job by one of these two to be able to overcome the gap here. It seems like they just basically, both of them are not even online because they're separated by 200 points and they haven't moved. So will be interesting to see who actually wakes up in time to check this out. But we got 17 minutes left. Looking pretty good. We'll do the resource recap and the final thoughts and summary and all that once we got this in the bag. So getting pretty excited here. All right, guys, 3 minutes left. Literally, these guys are still probably sleeping in their warm beds where I should be right now. It's 3:30 in the morning. But these guys have not moved since I checked up on this after waking up. So I assume these guys are just sleeping. They're separated by 200 points only for second place. That legendary book must mean something to somebody. But hey, there you go. I think that's going to be it. 2 minutes left. We're going to be doing the 30-second countdown to the end here. I think we can lock it up. 60,000 points for them to surpass me. I don't think it's going to be possible in 2 minutes, but you never know. So we'll be right back. All right, 20-second countdown to the win. Any movement here from these two guys? Absolutely no movement. They are stone cold, passed out, sleeping in their beds. Looks like Grizz is going to take this by less than 200 points, by 150 points for that Lego book. He's going to scoop it up over Lord T-Bone here. And we're going to pick this Lydia 6-star Soul Up mythical book and the mythical Relentless Gear. It's a pretty good haul. Of course, we did spend 100,000 points on this tournament. It's quite a bit, of course. Let's check out the global leaderboards here. This was not a concern at all. In terms of our overall goal. Our goal is to win this tournament as cheaply as possible, to be honest. And although we did beat them by a significant margin, I think if we tried to save some points, it would have maybe opened up the door for them to commit more points to try to chase us down. So since they were basically going at it for 40k already, I would assume something in the ballpark of 60 or 70k might not have been enough to push them out of this running. Let's check the global leaderboards here real quick. QXE takes it down with 308. Moonlight Knight was first place, so he literally just got overtaken by QXE in the last moments here. In terms of where we rank, do we even make it into the top 100? We squeeze into the top 100 here with 92nd place. Again, this is not really a concern or consideration. Look at this. This is so ridiculous. Top 100 in the game don't even get a single bit of extra rewards. it should give a little bit, right? Like this is already so stingy, like the top 10, like this is already so stingy already. Um, but hey, we got it, we scooped it up. It's all but confirmed here, still finalizing and all that stuff. But yeah, let's talk about our ending resources here in this whole thing. So we got 1.89 billion silver, 18,600 gems. Now, before the start of this event, I did basically spend about 200 million silver to upgrade the vault space. So I was ready. So initially I started with 400 spots and then went all the way up to 500 spots. I used silver to do all this, to purchase all this instead of gems. Obviously I have a ton of silver, which I can use instead of spending gems. So that's going to factor into the total resources spent. So I did make a spreadsheet here and I documented, my whole progress through this entire tournament. One of the good things about being a content creator is that you basically document everything you do in this game. So it's kind of easy to go back and just, have some checks on everything. All right, so this is the spreadsheet breakdown of my entire tournament. So when I started the event, this is my opening balance of my resources. I had over 1,000 epic books. I had over 200 legendary books, 23 mythical books, and about 26,000 gems with over 2 billion silver. Like I said, I spent about 200 million, over 200 million silver to upgrade the 100 remaining slots in the vault. So that's why I dropped down to about 1.85, I think, afterwards. 26,800 gems. And yeah, after 3 hours in the tournament, we were already at 28,000 points. You see, I kind of went for the strategy of basically going pretty hard right away, just to basically assert my plans. So I was at 28,000 when the rest of the group was at, less than 1,500. I realized it's a 6-star soul for Lydia. It's most likely going to be expensive. If there's 2 ways to play it, right? You can play it right away, have the big start, or the other way is just to lay in the bushes and, prepare your last minute attack. Now, it depends, right? It depends what you want to do. So you could have somebody that's really prepared for the last minute kind of push, and the price can get really, really rung up at the end. So for example, if one of the 2 competitors in this bracket wanted to fight me for the first place in the last hour or 2, it would have got really, really nasty because I was prepared. Obviously I was waiting. So there's different ways to do it. One way could save you a little bit, or the other way you could overpay, right? You could overpay a little bit, or you could overpay a lot. It really depends on who you got in your bracket. Like I said, I scouted the bracket out a little bit. I thought it was a good opportunity for me to take advantage of it, being one of the stronger accounts. So I thought I had a reasonable shot. So I came out 28,000 right out of the gate. After that, you can kind of see here 2 hours later. So 2 hours later, we got up to, we made basically no progress, up to 30,000 here. And then you can kind of see the resource check near the this point in time. So basically the resources were basically unused at this time in terms of gems or silver or anything. So a couple hours in, I made the first 30,000 points basically off books, existing leveled up food, just a little bit like that. So it wasn't really, spending gems or anything like that or energy in campaign. So you can kind of see here. The next timestamp I got was 13 hours after that. So we got 3 days, 19 hours left at 30,000. And then 13 hours after that, we have hit 50,000 points. But now we see that Grizz has actually came out of the bushes here. So Grizz was not in anywhere, but Grizz has asserted himself to be chasing for the first place. Because at this point, anybody that exceeds the, final milestone, kind of shows their hand too, right? So that's kind of like my strategy as well. I want to get high enough beyond the last prize milestone that anybody else that chases past that milestone is kind of showing their hand with what they want to do. So here I kind of think that Grizz is basically, going to come after the first place. I want to make sure that I put, a sizable gap between me and him, basically throughout the entire tournament. Lord T-Bone, we don't know exactly what his plans are at this point. Like, he could still go for the last milestone and then just chill. But it's good to keep documented, screenshots of this just to see their progress. So 3 days, 6 hours. 2 hours later, I add in another 20,000 points. We see Grizz not moving much and T-Bone not moving much. So at this point, the lead has, grown back to 40,000. I think at this point, 3 days, 40,000 lead, I think it's pretty good. If he kept coming, it would have been really, really nasty, I think. I think if he kept coming at this point, 3 days out, this would have been really, really expensive. So I was hoping that the lead was large enough to kind of discourage him to say, hey, this is going to get really expensive, or hey, we're done, right? We're done here. Because at 30,000, 29,000 points, he hasn't sunk so much in that it's the point of no return, right? At some point, there's a point of no return where you kind of just have to go all in. But for him, he's still at the point where he can still bail out. So that's why I wanted to make it very clear at this point, 3 days out. Afterwards, the next check-in is about 6 hours away. So 6 hours later, we haven't really done much. We put in about 6,000 points. Grizz has not put in much as well, has basically put in nothing. So we added our lead, about 6,000 points. T-Bone hasn't moved much at all 6 hours later. Quick resource check here. And we are dipping into some of our gems now. So we spent about 4,000 gems already leveling up food. So my strategy basically was using mystery shards, leveling up 1-star food up to 2 stars, 3 stars, 4 stars, and so forth, using campaign, using gems. At this point, I was pretty low on brews. Maybe like a couple hundred of each, not really too much. I wanted to save them for like the quick points at the end with the higher ranked champions. So I basically switched my strategy to using gems because we had plenty of gems to use. So we used gems. We wanted to keep on top of our mystery shards. We didn't want to basically just open up mystery shards and just feed off the 1 stars, because you can really run out of mystery shards really, really quickly, especially once you start running out of food and you start having to rely on building up the smaller units. So we start off here with 1461 at this point, 4,000 gems down, and the silver has been spent for the extra 100 slots. At this point, basically within the hour, we pumped in another 6,000 points. So we went from 76 up to 83. Both the second and third place haven't moved. So we're just adding to our lead a little bit at a time. Like I said, I want to make sure that I want to discourage them from thinking that they have sunk too much cost in and they're basically all in committed. I don't want them to commit to this. I want them to basically, still have an out. At this point, we are ranked 6th in the global leaderboards. So we're ranked 6th in the global leaderboards at this point, 2 days and 22 hours remaining. Again, the global leaderboards was not any concern to me. I just wanted to come out really strong, make sure I assert myself with the bracket, try to not get into like a sunk cost fallacy fight kind of thing. So I wanted people to be discouraged and I don't want them to be committed. But it really depends, right? Sometimes people just want it and they're going to commit regardless of how bad it looks. And then at that point you have to assess, right? I think if Grizz, matched me right here, it would have been really, really tough because, that would have been really ugly at the end. I think my strategy would have to switch if he matched me at this point. But we will see if that ever happened. Next check-in, 17 hours later. 17 hours later, we put in about 15,000 points, so we're back up to 98,000. Grizz put in about 5,000, and T-Bone put in about 5,000. So you can kind of see here 98. So we put in 25, and then both our competitors put in 5. At this point, the lead is growing. We're doing multiples over what they're doing, so we're feeling pretty good about that. Next check-in's about 18 hours later. So in 18 hours, I only did 2,000. So I'm feeling pretty good about the lead. I want to see how it shakes out between the second and third place. We see here Grizz at 38. He hasn't really moved much. He moved about 4K, and we see T-Bone here making the biggest move, up 11K here. T-Bone going up 11K, and I moved the least, only up 2K. At this point, I want to see where they want to go. Grizz, Matt actually reached out to me in one of my videos commenting that he said he's basically done with the tournament. So, you know, it felt genuine. I, you know, trusted that comment, but at the same time, obviously, you have to still be aware. I'm not so naive that I would believe the person 100% outright, but it did sound sincere. So I did take him at the face value there. So I wasn't too concerned about him, but T-Bone was chasing him down a little bit, and he had the biggest gain. So I was concerned about T-Bone, whether he was going to set up for some kind of super snipe at the end for myself. So I was watching this very carefully. Quick resource check here. Silver, I'm actually accumulating a little bit more back, basically running campaign all the time, selling off the gear and then making back some of the silver. In terms of overall gems, we're down to 20,000. So we spent about 3,000 from our last check-in, 3,000 gems from about 2 days ago, just doing campaign and all that stuff. At this point, there's an Ice Golem tournament happening as well, so I did spend some extra gems in the Ice Golem, but I was using RTAC to farm for food as well, so I was kind of double dipping a little bit as well. The training is not super efficient, but you still generate some food as well as farm the Ice Golem, as well as get a small rebate with some gems and energy back and an epic book back as well, which I thought, you know, could be a little bit of value since we might need it in the final moments. So I decided to go for the Ice Golem tournament as well. At this point, 103,000, not much gain for myself. I only gained 3,000 in, you know, almost 24 hours. The other two guys in the second and third spot, they gained, you know, T-Bone here has gained 12,000 and Grizz has gained about 3,000. So Grizz, you know, so far keeping to his word, and he hasn't really progressed much. Lord, like I said, I was a little bit concerned. He is gaining, and at this point has surpassed Grizz. So I feel like he could be setting up something here, so I was extra vigilant to keep an eye on him. At this point, you know, obviously the day happens and I need to go to bed and all that stuff. I don't really add too many points, and both competitors are basically stuck at 43,000 with 2 hours left when I wake up. Basically the same point total as when I went to bed. You know, I went to bed and I had some stuff running with the multi battles, and I gained an extra 3,000 points, just setting up some 40s for some quick rank ups if needed. And yeah, the final score is how we see it right here. It's basically the same. It hasn't changed in probably about it probably hasn't changed in about 6 hours. I added 3,000 points in maybe the last 6 or 7 hours, but it hasn't changed between the second and third place competitors. They probably went to sleep, to be honest. They probably went to sleep and we're probably in the same time zone. Since they were separated by, you know, less than 200 points, you know, you think that they would probably go for a legendary book. But hey, congratulations to second and third here. And just double checking our ending balance on our resources here. So we went down to 18,600 points, 600 gems, which is basically a total gem spend, if you guys recall, of about, we started with 26,800. So we spent about 8,000 gems in this tournament. And let's check our total books. We did spend some books here. We spent about 300 epic books. So 300 epic books at 75 points per book. So 300 epic books, 75 points per epic book gives us about 22,500 points. So about, you know, about 1/5 of our total points came from epic books. And as an endgame player, you guys probably can relate. The epic books just kind of stack up on your account because you don't really use them for anything anymore. You just accumulate them during events, clan boss and all that stuff, and you don't really use them anymore because there's only so many epics that you want to book out anyways. So epic books are kind of just really good just for like extra points for CVC or extra points for tournaments and all that stuff. So here, having saved up so many, we had, you know, a good chunk of our points come from epic books. We did spend about 50 legendary books. So 50 legendary books, that equates to about 10,000 points. So 10% of our total point total came from legendary books. Now 50 legendary books, that's quite a lot for people to save up, obviously. My alt account, for example, has 120 legendary books, and that's mainly because I only book out legendaries that I really want to use or that have significant importance for my account progression. For this account, it's the same thing. I just don't book out champions that, you know, I don't use or I don't need to fully book out. Like, for example, like Nekmothar, I use them all the time. I don't fully book them out. For example, Eric's, I use them for solo farming. I don't need to book them out fully. Drexar, same thing. Lots of champions here, like they don't need to be fully booked out, and I just leave them as such. So that's why my books really stack up. Of course, I get content creator perks, so I get some extra books per week, and they stack up as well, so that definitely helps. And I didn't spend any mythical books here. So total book contribution to my total points, about 35%, about 32,000. Sorry, 32,000-ish. Total points from books alone, and about 8,000 gems spent. Now that doesn't factor in what I made in return. So this is what I made in return. You know, there's a lot of 3 stars here ready to rank up, and a lot of 4 stars here ready to rank up as well. We also made probably a bunch of 6-star units. So we made a ton of food. We'll be set up for, you know, any training tournament, you know, the next 2 or 3 at least, without much issues. In terms of total brews spent, I probably spent 100, 200 of each. The red ones I probably spent maybe like 300, but not too much. I say total brew spend maybe less than 1,000 brews across all the colors. Not that much. I just generally didn't have that much, and I wanted to save some for the last minute brewing of some of these higher ranked units if I needed to. And we can check back some of the shards here. You can kind of see we actually had a surplus of mystery shards come in, you know, compared to the resource check that we did at 2 days, 22 hours. So we actually have a surplus of mystery shards. So not only did our mystery shards basically upkeep all our mystery shard spending, it actually gained a little bit in the end. So this was one of the big concerns here. I didn't want to use all my mystery shards. You know, some people were, if you have tons of mystery shards, you can definitely like pull them and then feed off the 1 stars quickly so that you can make space, you know, look for 2 stars and start there, of course. But I was leveling them up from 1 star all the way up, which cost more energy, but in the end you save the mystery shards. I was also hitting up the market every hour, like that's usual, and of course you buy the mystery shards, but I was also buying the 2-star units. So any 2-star units in there, I was picking them up as well, so that obviously contributes to silver spend as well. You know, I was just being very mindful of how much food that I would have in case, you know, in case this got really deep. Like I was gearing up for like a 200k tournament basically. So it's something that yeah, not something that I really want to do like ever, but I was basically prepared for it. So actually a good thing to check would be the multi battles here. So multi battles here, I got 9,300. I probably spent at least 2,500 multi battles. 2,500 multi battles. So I was using super raids and stuff like that. If you weren't using super raids, then I would be like 5,000 multi battles. But thank God for super raids. Obviously, without RSL helper was fixed, you know, maybe like a day ago. But to me, it was still kind of buggy. So I was still kind of using the multi battles here for the last day or so. But most of my farming was already done. But it was good that RSL helper came back. It was a little bit of a scare actually that RSL helper came back, because you never know if the competition really utilizes it or really relies on it. But for me, yeah, another 2,500 multi battles pulled here. And yeah, that's about it for the total resources. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Hopefully you guys found it informative. Let's end off with collecting our reward. And yeah, it was fun. It was fun. I usually never do this. I don't participate in these because they are absolute ridiculous events. that cause ridiculous amounts of stress. And, you know, it's not really something that I'm too keen to jump into myself. But I would say overall, relative to what everybody, you know, that I've witnessed go through, I would say this was relatively stress-free. So here you go, Lydia. Welcome to the team. 6-star, fully blessed Lydia. Welcome to the team. I'm just gonna have to think about her blessing a little bit. It's probably gonna be cruelty, or it's gonna be a 6-star brimstone. But yeah, really happy about that. Obviously, it's very difficult for me to get 6-star legendaries. This saves me, you know, 6, 7, 8 months of farming. But Lydia would not be a champion that I would 6-star. Because I have so many champions that take priority over her. So that's why I feel there's so much value here. And also, I only had a 1-star for her, like after playing, you know, farming soulstones for almost 2 years now. So the odds of, you know, the odds just weren't worth me with getting a really strong Lydia. So I thought this was one of the best opportunities to do so. But yeah, anyways, guys, hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know in the comments below what you guys think. Did you guys win your tournament? How did everything go? Hopefully we can hear some good stories in the comments below, or some funny heartbreak stories as well. Hopefully you guys did well and enjoyed the process. Let me know. Would love to hear it. Once again, thank you guys so much for watching. Appreciate your time, and I'll see you guys in the next video.